Assalamu alaikum. If I tell you that you don't need hundreds and thousands of Arabic words to understand the Quran directly, small number of Quranic words, unlocks the much of the Quran, and this is called as learn smarter, not the harder. Yes, you have heard it correct. I'm going to tell you why high frequency words are the best place to start. First of all, let me tell you what are high frequency words. High frequency words are the words that are repeating and recurring in the Quran again and again. Words like Allah, words like belief, words like heaven, like earth, like day, knowledge, mercy. These are the words that are recurring and they are repeated in the Holy Quran again and again. So the key idea here is that repetition creates familiarity. Yes, if you repeat the word, if you see the repetition, then you get familiarity of the Quranic words. Number second is why uh, this high frequency words learn. Why we should learn these high frequency words first? Because if you want to have the maximum result out of the least efforts, or you just want high results on learning, or you just want to understand more verses faster, or you just have one more thing, you just want to build the momentum earlier, then we have to start these high frequency words at the first place. The key idea here is that you have learned, you may be knowing 80-20 rule. That means learn the 20% of the high frequency words that will give you the 80%. Learn the 20% that gives you the 80% of the results. That is the 80-20 rule that I'm going to. That is the principle that we are going to just apply here. Now we are just going to that part of one important fact that you already know many of the words. Yes, you know many of the words like Allah, like the word Rabb, like the word Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, or the word the Jannah, the word Jahannam. You already know much of the Quranic verbs, and you don't know. Okay, the key message here is that you are not starting from the zero. We're just building on your existing knowledge. Then we'll move with the recognition before mastery. If you want to master the Quran, master the language, master the understanding of the Quran, then we have to focus first on the recognition part before we get the mastery of that subject. So the learning process is first we have to recognize the words, the repeated words. Then the second step is the understanding of those words. Then we'll start remembering. Third is the remembering of that, whether it is the meaning, whether it's the pattern. Then we have to uh, follow that process so that we will become the confident that yes, we know the word, we know its meaning. Then the confidence starts. Then the sentence and the verses start flowing in the brain without much effort, but with high results. So, what is the key principle here is that don't wait for the fluency before understanding. We don't have to wait for that. We have to first understand the logic behind whether we are able to recognize the word, whether we are able to understand that word, whether that then we have to remember, then the sentence flows. Okay. Now, one more important part is that we just have to remove the fear of the grammar. Grammar feels overwhelming. Vocabulary recognition builds confidence first. If you know the vocabulary, know the grammar, then grammar comes later. It's not the grammar comes first. We have to first understand the word. If you know the word, then grammar starts later. First, we need to build the confidence before the complexity. First, we have to build the confidence that yes, we are able to understand this pattern. Then these patterns will club together, they'll form a long verse, and you'll just feel confidently understanding. One important part is that why we just want to understand the recurring words because that improves our salah. In salah, we are repeating the verses again and again, like Surah Al Fatiha. We are repeating the surah in every salah, in every rakah. We are repeating. So, if we recognize the words of Surah Al Fatiha, see how we improve our salah. The focus gets increased and our heart becomes so peaceful. It will by improving salah, by understanding the words, understanding we can just have the better concentration, the khushu of the namaz, the salah, and we'll have the mindful recitation. Whenever we start reciting, we're just understanding the Allah's message, and after understanding, we'll have the stronger connection with Allah. Point number next is small daily wins. We do not need hours and hours of practice. Even only 15 to 20 minutes daily, that are enough. Because consistency beats intensity. By having small tasks, 15 to 20 minutes daily, that beats the intensity 1 or 2 or 3 hours occasionally. Yes, small progress compounds over time. That is the power of small practice that wins. So here I just want to share with you the formula is that small steps, if taken daily, you'll see the amazing and the big results over time. Point number 9 is pattern recognition is the secret. I'm just going to share with you the secret is pattern recognition. Quran repeats words, that's the one pattern. Quran repeats themes, Quran repeats messages. Okay, so train your brain to recognize the pattern. Recognize the pattern, connect to the meanings, and just you see the understanding starts flowing naturally. This is all the training of the brain. We have not trained our brain to recognize. We have not trained our brain to get familiarized with the words of the Quran. That then it becomes overwhelmed. So key idea here is that first recognize. Don't memorize everything. You don't have to memorize. Just memorize the concept. You'll understand the meaning. Then you'll feel the difference. How Allah beautifully talks to us personally. And the last point number 10 is understanding leads to reflection. When you understand, then what is Allah teaching me? This is the beautiful question we have to ask ourselves. If we go with the single verse daily, then ask ourselves what Allah teaches me or what Allah is telling me in this line, in this verse. Number one. And number second is how can I apply this today? If I learn one concept, for example, I learn keep praying. I read the word as-salah. Just understand that something salah. Allah is talking about salah. Then, if I recognize the word salah, then I understand it. Then I have to apply it on the same day. On the same day, then we have to think of salah because Allah has told me about that today. Then what is you understand, you reflect, and then you start transform. The transformation is inevitable then. Yes. And starting simple, don't try to learn everything. Don't try. Then, if we start learning everything, we'll not do anything. Yes. Instead, keep learning one new word daily. That will build your confidence. That will build your vocabulary. That will build your understanding. That will build your reflection. Everything will follow just following one word single day. Then keep moving forward and just celebrate the small wins. So here is the message: is that progress or perfection is the this key message. We're not here first to focus on the perfection. Just start making progress, even 1% daily. So in the nutshell, what I'm going to talk about, the core takeaway here is that just every recognized word, if you start recognizing, builds confidence and improves understanding, deepens connection with Allah, makes salah more beautiful and more meaningful, and one important, just brings you closer to the Allah. The what is the goal here? The goal is not here to becoming an Arabic scholar overnight. The goal is simply understanding Allah's word, one recurring word at a time. This is a simple goal. Just understand one word, but that word should be recurring so that our maximum portion should be covered in the much faster layout. Call to action here is that comment one Quranic word you already know. Like this video and share with someone who wants to understand the Quran. Subscribe for simple Quranic understanding lessons. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.